Greetings. Welcome to the Ramy Hakeem Show. We've been restructuring, as some would put it, and we're back. This is going to be fairly regularly. Don't hold me to it, because I might disappear for another few years. Last time we did the show, I promised it would get better. It only got worse. Every episode, it got progressively worse. So we're going to keep that tradition. No, I'm joking. We're going to try to do a lot better this time. A little brief summary of the last couple shows. So basically, we just talked about the news before, but lately there's been a lot going on. And so I felt it would be best if instead of just talking about bullshit and like scratching my balls or whatever, we actually took on some serious topics, because there's some serious things going on in the news and in the world. And it seems kind of glib and stupid to just kind of dance around them and just try to be funny all the time. So we're going to get into, the first thing I want to talk about, me being a comedian, is actually, before I get into anything else, because I kind of wanted to talk about the history of Canada and weigh in on this whole 51st state debate, which I think is bullshit, but not like, I think it's bullshit that people are framing it like there's no relationship between Canada joining America. There obviously is. And we're going to take a look at that. But I wanted to start actually first with the Riyadh Comedy Festival and the controversy that has been shaping up with that and like going on with that. Well, the first thing is I've been seeing a lot of people online really getting at the comedians who performed at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, comedians like Bill Burr or Whitney Cummings. I mean, those are the two. I think it's because they're the most... I think they've gotten the most shit for it, because they were the most like liberal directed, like equality and niceness, and you can't do things that are mean to anyone, and if someone made a joke once, you have to cut their head off. Like very, so it's kind of hypocritical of them to be like, or people said it was hypocritical of them to be like all into social justice here and then go to Saudi Arabia and perform. And I completely disagree with that take. I think that's the dumbest take you've ever heard, because first of all, it's a fucking comedy. First of all, it's a comedy festival. You should want that. You should want Saudi Arabia to be throwing comedy festivals. That's not a bad thing. Oh no, the theological monarchist state in the Middle East is throwing a comedy festival. Guys, sound the alarms. Get the Marines. Call Trump. Like a fucking comedy festival? Before we get into Saudi Arabia, because I was there last year, and I'm half Saudi, so, you know, I got a dog in the fight, but I'm not even standing up for Saudi because, like, I'm, like, from there or anything, and the reality is just the fucking truth of it. Like, Saudi Arabia's throwing a comedy festival. Good. Like, let's laugh. Let them laugh. Let's all laugh. Let's take a second and laugh, instead of crying about things they've done in the past. And I'm not even going to make the argument, well, you know, Canada, the natives, and America, the, you know, black people. That's a stupid place to frame an argument from. The 90% of the logic of it is it's a fucking comedy festival. It's not a war. It's not an ethnic cleansing. It's not even like a demolition derby. It's a comedy festival. It's about laughing, okay? The big thing that I see people online getting at Bill Burr and Whitney Cummings about and all this stuff is that they're like, how could you be there? The state, you know, how they treat women. First of all, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. What, because CNN once showed a picture of a woman in a ninja costume? Now Saudi, they can't laugh. They can't have a comedy festival because the ninja costumes? Eat dick. Okay? Eat some dick. Saudi Arabia, here, I'll give you a little, we'll do this first. Yeah. I've been going to Saudi Arabia since I was, I think, 13. I think I've been there like 5 or 6 times. Not exact sure how many times I've been there, but I've spent some time there. And let me tell you something. The Saudi Arabia I used to go to when I was like 15, 17, 19, that place is gone. It is a totally different place, okay? The women, the whole covering, women don't have to cover anymore. When I was there, women were out and about, hair down, you know, I mean, they were dressing like sluts over here, but they were still pretty like, you know, they were pretty fast and loose compared to the Saudi I remember. The women were walking around, talking all kinds of shit, being loud. No one gave a fuck. They're driving. No one gives a fuck. That's how big. Can we just take a second and appreciate how fucking base Saudi Arabia is? The fact that the women are driving. And that's like, all right, guys, we took our foot off the brake a little. We let them drive. That's sick. They shouldn't let them drive, but they do because they're going in a new direction. So that's garbage. Think about how they treat women. I don't know where people are. Like, they're watching Afghanistan or something and thinking that's the entire Middle East. The Middle East could be better broken down. The Middle East is a lot like America. Okay, the vast landmass of the Middle East. I have a globe, but it's outdated. It's like from the Cold War. Let me go get it though. Let's take it. I'll be right back. And we're back. So I only have a globe because I honestly, even though I want to do the show, I didn't anticipate going into this. So let me just get something so I can point. But okay, so what I'm trying to say here is this is going to be really shitty. Like, you're not going to be able to see. But so the Middle East, it's actually a lot like the United States where, like, I got to figure out how to do picture in picture because this is annoying. But this area, right? So we go. Everything's reversed for me. So you got. What do you got? Let's see what you got. You got Egypt. Okay, Egypt is like the California of the Middle East. The best music, the best movies. It's like a cultural center in that way. It's not like California in that it's the brokest. It's one of the brokest. I mean, Yemen's like Buffalo. It's just shit. And there's nothing really going on there. So Yemen's like Buffalo, okay? And then, so there's also different levels of conservatism and everything. So Egypt, super liberal. They're all just like, they're really chill, really fun people. They're partiers. They get drunk. They get pussy. Like, Egypt is like California, where they're very chill and cool. Now, Lebanon, we put to the Levant. I mean, this is a small globe in my lightings. Anyways, but so Lebanon, if you don't know where Lebanon is, fucking read a book, okay? So Lebanon is like, it's more like the New York. The food's good. There's a lot of gay, and they don't really care that they're gay. Like, even though everyone's like, Middle East, they push gays off of buildings. It's like, no, like, in some spots. But for the most part, it's like the United States. They're set up. Now, Saudi Arabia, this is a really old map too, but Saudi Arabia is like the Texas of the Middle East. It's got oil money, very conservative, religious, misogynist, and I mean that as a compliment. So you got to separate the Arab states by like states in the U.S. You wouldn't go to California and start saying people, well, all you guys do is fucking wear cowboy boots and fucking shoot guns. Like, that's not California. The same way Egypt isn't Saudi Arabia. They're different. These states, the cultures are different, the way they practice. Now, Islam is a big overarching theme, but there's lots of Christians in a lot of these places. Not so much Saudi Arabia. The way Saudi Arabia doesn't have, or the way Texas is pretty, there's a lot of Indians and stuff there, but the way Texas doesn't have a massive Catholic community, it's mostly Protestant. You got to think of the Middle East as, like, Saudi Arabia is the Texas, okay? So people are saying, oh, push gays off buildings, don't let women talk. Like, that's not the case anymore. The whole country has had a major change of heart, change of pace, change of direction. So for people saying Bill Burr can't go perform in Saudi Arabia because they're mean to women, first of all, that's a reason to go. Okay? That's a reason to go to Saudi Arabia. But they're not doing that anymore. Okay? They're modernizing. Agenda 20, Vision 2030, a lot of big stuff. So, no. Bill Burr can go perform there. And the women, most of them have degrees. Like 60% of the women that I met over there had degrees. They weren't really, some of them had jobs. A lot of them didn't. A lot of them were housewives. And they don't clean. They don't cook. They have shagala. They have maids. They have butlers. They have service people that do that stuff for them. So the women are fine. Okay? They're living large. They're living better than most people. Okay? So you guys have no idea what you're talking about. Just because fucking some idiot on Reddit is like, they're mean to women over there. It's like, they're not, first of all, they're not mean enough. Second of all, they're not like that anymore. It's very chill. I met a lot of friends there, hung out with a lot of people, mixed gender, and there was no issue. There was no, the Matawa, the religious police, they used to enforce these Islamic laws. Let me just get this, we're just going to get this globe out of the way. We'll come back to the globe later because it is an interesting artifact, but the Matawa, the religious police that used to enforce the law, they've been defanged. The prince, the crown prince, MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, my dog, my boy, love that guy. That guy's sick. What he's doing to the country is sick. Okay, it's cool. It's young. It's radical. He gets it. The guy plays Fortnite. The guy plays PUBG. The guy's he gets it. He's of a generation that understands that old way of doing things isn't going to fly anymore. He's trying to get the economy off of pure oil. They're going to start doing more things, diversified, the sovereign wealth fund. I love it. I loved it there. I love the people there. Although I am Saudi and I have nationality, I don't feel Saudi. It's not like I didn't grow up steeped in the sauce, steeped in the hummus. But I don't feel Canadian. I'm born in Canada, raised here. I don't feel really that Canadian either. I don't understand. The Canada I knew, the peacekeeping nation, strong economy, great traditional Anglo-Christian value, that place is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. So I kind of feel like a Jew. Like I feel diasporic. Like I don't have a homeland. Argentina, I don't really care about. That's where my mom's from. Canada, I mean, I was born here. I'm an anchor baby. Like I'm not Canadian. You know what I mean? I'm not third, fourth, fifth generation Scottish, Irish. You know, I'm not Canadian. I wouldn't say I'm Canadian like that. Just because you have a passport doesn't mean you're from the place. Saudi, now we're talking blood and soil. Now we're talking my roots have been there. Family's been there for hundreds of years. I don't really feel Saudi. I don't get it. I'm not really of that culture. Steep. I have great respect for it. I have great, some pride and some learning about the history, but I'm not Saudi by like culture. So I'm kind of like a Jew. I'm diasporic. I can live anywhere. I can be anywhere. I got some places I can go. And I'm more American, to be perfectly honest. Raised on American TV, raised on American culture. I'm an American, so like mentally and spiritually. And getting back to the whole thing, Americans and Saudis have had a long history together of great partnership. The nations have been super close. And yeah, there's been some, Prince Faisal with the oil ban in the 70s and stuff like that. But other than that, it's been a very smooth run. And so Bill Burr and some comedians going over there. I don't like that they kicked out Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon should have went. Tim Dillon's very funny. But in Saudi, as much as they are moving forward, there's still some lines you don't cross. Okay, you don't say certain things. They don't like certain things. Even though we would like that about them, they don't get it yet. They're still understanding how we view them. People view Saudi as like a terrorist state or like a super... They should really be seeing it as like a Dubai, a better Dubai. Why better? Dubai is still it's super expensive, first of all. And second of all, it's filled with foreigners. It's filled with Russians and Indians, Europeans. Like everyone from there is not from there. Everyone there is not from there. Saudi still has deep Saudi ties, deep culture, and it's fun. And they're really a fun-loving people. Arabs love being made fun of. I did comedy over there, And most of my jokes are just roasting them, and like they have bread, like really tough bread that you don't get to. It sucks. It's just old bread, but they like it. I forget what they called it, shabura or something. Anyways, I was just roasting them the whole time. They loved it. I started going into bits, and they're like, "Dude, make fun of this. Say this story." So they like being made fun of. They like being impersonated. They like being joked about. They love comedy. They're big comedy people. Now, they're comedians. I was over there and I met there's some funny guys. Some guys I like Majid. Majid was a nice guy. Yasser Bakr is he's like a pioneer of Saudi comedy, which is hard to do over there. And, I like the guys, the comedians I met, but, they don't have the stage time. They don't have the ability to get good. As good as you need to be. Like, I remember talking to one comedian, and I was like, how many shows have you done? He said, like, somewhere in the 400s. And I'm like, oh, like this year? He goes, or the last 2 years? He goes, no, like my whole career. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's like 2 slow years. Like, you got to do more shows. But, point being, Whitney Cummings is allowed to go there and be funny. Bill Burr's allowed to go there and be funny. All those comedians are allowed to go there and be funny. If you really have a problem with the Saudi Comedy Festival, you're an idiot. Period, point blank. You're stupid and shut up. Because there's nothing wrong with going somewhere to tell jokes. They're not doing a political rally. They're not endorsing the royal family and all of their decisions. They're just going over there to tell jokes. And they're getting a nice fat paycheck to do it, okay? It's not an issue. The only people making it issues are people who weren't invited or people who are just so up their own ass with their political beliefs, they can't relax. So if this ever gets to Bill Burr or Whitney Cummings or to anyone, you're fine, okay? And they know they're fine. But ignore the idiots. Well, you can't go over there. What, are you going to perform for them? Yeah. The UFC goes there. Everything goes there. Most of the fucking arm wrestling championships are in the Middle East. Like, it's what, Dubai? Or you can go to Dubai, but you can't go to Saudi. Why? Well, because Saudi's done bad things. You don't think Dubai would if they had the positioning of Saudi Arabia? Not to talk shit on Dubai, but like Dubai's it's like a couple cities. Abu Dhabi, Dubai, the Emirates are like, there's like 2-3 cities. There's nothing really going on there. Saudi, yeah, there's like 3 cities. Mecca, or there's more than 3 cities, but majorly it's Jeddah, Medina, and Mecca, and Riyadh are the 3 major cities. Medina's not even that major of a city. It's just a important city, but this is boring and stupid to even talk about because shut up, okay? They're allowed to fucking go there. If you got a problem with it, you're done. Our first sponsor of the show is Phat Ghey. Now, there's a lot of insurance companies out there selling you a whole bunch of promises. No one is going to cover you like Phat Ghey. Phat Ghey has amazing customer support and 24-hour customer support. So if you're ever in a jam, you can talk to them. Easy payments, low payments. It's amazing. Go to phatghey.com, PHATGHEY, and type in code RAMY for 25% off and for free consultation. So remember, don't be a fat fag, be a Phat Ghey. And we're back. A little sponsorship. Just had to throw it in there. So yeah, that covers the Saudi thing. Now we're gonna get into the Canada thing. We might even bridge talking about Canada and Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia and Canada have terrible relationship. They have a terrible relationship politically, economically, because there was a whole scandal in Saudi Arabia. I'm not going to get into it, but there's the Jamal Khashoggi scandal. And there's a lot to be said about that. Some people say he was unjustly, disappeared. Some people say it was justified. I mean, the guy was in intelligence and he was it's a more of an in-house issue. I'm not going to weigh in on it because I also have to do more research on it. I've just been told what I've been told. I met one of the Khashoggi family and say they're a nervous bunch. But so because of that, Canada made a strong statement, and they're like, "Oh, you can't do that. Don't do that to something about an embassy. The guy got chopped up. Whatever. Let's not get into it like that, okay? I support the prince, and I support Saudi Arabia. Some guys talking shit. Guess what? You found out what happens. Don't talk shit on my boy. Don't talk shit on the crown prince. Don't talk shit on my boy, okay? And I mean that respectfully. Don't talk shit. What are you talking shit? Cause they're doing this and this. Like, shut your mouth, mate. Shut your fucking mouth. I'll get McGregor on your ass. Shut up, dude. Shut up. Saudi's trying. They're moving forward. You know, you gotta crack a few eggs and make a couple omelets. Don't be an egg. Moving on. Canada didn't like it. They talked some shit, so Saudis cut it all off. I mean, the direct flights came back, but yeah, anyways. So lately, Canada has been in some hard economic times because the era of free trade is now over. We've been living off of free trade with the United States, and we didn't prepare our economy better. Our economy also got fucked up by terrible leadership in Canada. A finance minister who doesn't know the first thing about finance. Chrystia Freeland. We had Trudeau, who was just a complete disaster in every way. I mean, you can't, if you come into a place and it falls in every metric, once you're done, you fucked up. Let's say the Blue Jays are winning the World Series. Let's say anything is doing well. It's Blue Jays. They're winning World Series, they're getting into the finals. Then a new coach comes over and they don't even make it to the playoffs. That's a failure. Okay, Canada, everything's failing. And the fucking news is saying, oh, it's because of Trump and his tariffs. No, it's not because of the tariffs. If you can get to the history of Canada, which we will a little bit, cursory. I'm going to do a more full-fledged stream on it. But if you actually look at the history of Canada, the whole history, and it's crazy in school, they teach American history and they teach Canadian history. They are one and the same. Okay? The French and the British began colonizing the continent. They began settling. It was Jacques Cartier and John Cabot were the first English and French here. Cartier sailed to St. Lawrence, set up Quebec City and Montreal, and the British too. They came in, Jamestown, 1607, and then they began settling more colonies. Then there was the French Indian War, and the British took Montreal and Quebec from the French, and they ruled it. And the French were a small population of Catholics. They did not like the Protestant lifestyle. They didn't want anything to do with it. But once the British took over, they were subjects, and they were worried and but they know the British. They know that they'll tolerate some Catholic citizens in their nations because of Europe, the Catholic Protestant schism, and they've been doing that for a long time. So then the Americans, the 13 colonies, the lower colonies, there's the lower colonies, Upper Canada, which includes like Toronto, Montreal. And so the Americans rebel because of representation issues, taxation issues, and the British are really heavy-handed in America. They're heavy-handed with the French. They're heavy-handed with their own people. And so the Americans rebelled. And they wanted initially Montreal to join the rebellion. But the problem was the British were stationing their troops in Nova Scotia and using Montreal as the gateway, the highway into the St. Lawrence. So they couldn't join right away. There was too much of a British presence. Then, what the fuck's the guy's name? They say Benedict Arnold leads a force to go to Montreal to free the French and the British, the Canadians, the British subjects and the French subjects, to join the rebellion. There was a storm. There was a disease outbreak. Never could happen. So the 13 colonies rebel, start fighting England. The English are stationing off of Nova Scotia to continue their war against the Americans. The Americans weren't in so much of a rush because they always thought they're right there. We can get them eventually, right? We just need to declare independence and achieve independence. They get it. They declare it. Boom. Then the French Revolution, they start sending diplomats over to America to convince America to join because, we helped you with your fight for independence. Now we are becoming the French Republic. It's the same struggle, and it was a very similar struggle. The difference is that the French Republic wasn't so freedom-oriented. It wasn't like America. There was more of a... The word communist or social, it's more socialist. It was less individual, more about the state and the rights of the people and the state, right? So then you get, what the fuck's the guy's name? It would help if I did a bit of research, but anyways, French guy comes over, starts trying to get the Americans to help. The British are now seizing American ships that are trading with France because of the embargo, and it's getting real messy. The whole time, there's a cohort of, there's a percentage of the Canadian population that wants to join America. They want to join America. They understand that that Canada can't compete with the Hudson. So the St. Lawrence River, so there's two major gateways. Here, let's get the globe again. I mean, this is really small, so you're not going to see. But essentially, you got, you can't see shit, but St. Lawrence, if you Google it, you fucks. St. Lawrence and the Hudson. The problem with trade going through the St. Lawrence is the St. Lawrence would freeze. So for large percentages of the year, you can't get in and out of there. Super dangerous. Where the Hudson stayed unfrozen all year. And so the Americans just out-traded, out-transported. They tried easing tariffs on American goods traveling through Canadian waterways. It didn't help. It did not help. The Americans are making canals. So there was a reciprocity treaty where Canada starts trading with the U.S. and U.S. starts trading to Canada because before everyone's trading with Europe, they're going across the Atlantic. And Canada starts getting rich. So the Canadians are like, fuck, we don't need to join. We got reciprocity. War of 1812 comes. All those things are canceled. And there's a war. And England actually does a pretty good job. England kind of beats America. But America says the fact that we didn't lose means we won, which is kind of true, for the time, because England is like, fuck, that's like fucking, dude, name it. It's like Venezuela. Right now, America's bombing Venezuela. What if Venezuela didn't lose? They'd be like, we fucking won. It's like Iran. Every time they try to topple Iran and Iran hangs on, even if they fuck up Iran, Iran's like, we won, we're still here. That's a win. And they should consider it a win. Throughout the eras, there's been more calls for, here, let me actually pull up because I did some research, but you guys don't care about. So yeah, Canada been trying to join, or large percentages of Canadians have been trying to join the U.S. the whole time. 1837 to 1838, Upper and Lower Canada were dissatisfied with British rule. They wanted to join America. There was a series of rebellions. The Toronto Rebellion, William Lyon Mackenzie. I'm a Mackenzian. I didn't even know I was a Mackenzian. It's basically annexationists. They want to join America. There's no point staying British. There's no point. The real reason, and another, the Act of the Union, 1841, they united the two Canadas, and that really pissed off the French because the French became a minority. 1846, then the American Civil War. There was always people trying to join America. They always wanted to join America. But the biggest reason why they didn't, the two biggest reasons were the British ruling class did not want to let go of England. And the number one reason, it's kind of funny, is actually the French Catholics, the French Canadian Catholics who did not want to join America because America hated Catholicism. They hated the Pope. They hated European shit. So they were like, fuck you, fuck the Pope. Fuck all that shit. But you guys should join us because freedom. And the French were kind of like, you know what? We're better off with the British because we know the British don't like the Catholics. We know the British don't like the French for that matter. But they leave us alone. They leave us alone. They just rule over us. The British don't mind being a multi-ethnic empire. They don't mind being in India. They don't mind being in the Caribbean. They don't mind being in the Middle East. They can handle that separation. Whereas America, no. We're all together in this. We're American. Fuck that shit. So the French were really the reason why Canada never joined America. And as much as and through learning about Canada and actually like deep diving on it, I actually have a lot of respect for the French Canadians. They were Canada. You know, when you said Canada for a long time in the past, you weren't really talking about the British settlers. You were talking about the French Canadians. And they resisted many attempted invasions, coercion, economic coercion, robust tariff schedules. The French Canadians were like, nope, we are Catholic. They were completely united around the church. Even though there was British dominionship and lordship over them, they did not budge. They were centered around the Pope the Pope and their Archbishop, the French Canadian Archbishop in Quebec, was essentially the governor of the French Canadians. Hard people, dude. These people were ethnically cleansed. They were dying, disease, war. These people didn't budge. They were solid. And they said, we don't want to join America because the Americans will fucking swallow us up and destroy our way of life. And they probably would have, which to me is a necessary sacrifice to join America. It only makes sense, but whatever. Then the spread westward, they get to BC. And for a while, America and England ruled the West together. It was a partnership. There was American fortresses, British fortresses, American traders, British traders, Hudson's Bay Company, American miners and gold rushers. They literally ruled it together. It was a joint rule. And then eventually the 49th parallel, 49th fight, was that Polk? I forget the name of the president, but so this is why the discussion around the 51st state makes sense. It makes sense. And Mark Carney elbows up all this Canadian bullshit that they're trying to be like, oh, we're not for sale. First of all, yes, we are. We're completely for sale. We've been for sale. You know how I know we're for sale? Because our fucking economy is dominated by like 4 companies. We've been for sale. We've already been sold. We've been sold. How is it? Canada has the second or third largest oil reserve in the world, right? Like Saudi and Canada have a very similar situation, around 30 to 40 million population, large oil reserves. Canada's in a way better situation though. They should be with all that land, other materials, precious metals, lumber, way better situation. Why is Saudi kicking our ass in growth? Why is Saudi kicking our ass in all these factors? How come Saudi actually refines their own oil? Why do we give it to... It doesn't make sense. Canada has been sold. It's not for sale. It's been sold. The union with the America, honestly, it makes sense. It makes the most sense. Increases the population of America by another 30, 40 million. A lot of that's immigrants, but whatever. Increases the population. Brings America up to just under 400 million people. Or at 400 million people, depending on what the numbers are. Massive expanse of land. And now there's American capital, an American business that can go get that. We're already under the American security umbrella. This just drives a nail in it. It joins in Alaska. It makes the most sense that this should all be America. And it always kind of was. Really, like Johnny MacDonald, when he created the Confederation or the Dominion, his whole thing was, we're either going to get swallowed up or we're gonna parody America. We're going to do what America does. The reason why America is so much more ahead of us is because they have industrialization. Canada's like, we're going to industrialize. And that guy really did a good job. And all the natives are like, oh, he killed us. Meh. He did a good job. Canada was sick for a long time. Had a very good. It was such a small in terms of numbers, big in terms of land, but we were like the 9th best economy in the world. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. You're competing with countries with massive populations, hundreds of millions of people. But 30 million people was in the top 10? That's elite shit. But that's done now. I think now we're like 16th or 17th. Bullshit. So that's my take on the fucking whole 51st state bullshit. Shut up, you're dumb. Essentially. We should join. It only makes sense. The fact that we're not joining is... Well, I think they want us to join. Here's the thing. Here's my conspiracy. Let's put our conspiracy hats on. Bloop. I think they do want us to join. I think now the writing's on the wall. I think just with the direction that the Matrix, the mainstream has been going, has been so anti-Trump, they need a new way to join. They can't just join because what about Canadian values? We've made all this bullshit about our values, even though we're deleting our fucking history at the same time. Like changing Dundas Street to fucking Slave Trade Square, Sankofa Square, which is, they were part of this. Anyways, deleting our history, changing our laws. They combined the economies of all the provinces recently. What does that mean? It's like, oh, you need to move. Okay, I don't want to move. All right, don't move. You don't have to move. But put all your shit in one box. But I don't want to move. No, it's just to keep all your shit together. Now it's compartmentalized. They're getting ready for the transition. They want to do this. The owners of the country, the business interests, the corrupt politicians, they've made this decision. They want to join. We're joining, which would be good. But I don't like the way they're doing it. I don't like the direction that these fucking pigs are doing it, because they're going to ruin everything. I wish we had American laws. Now Canada, there's Bill C9 where they're talking about if you talk shit on the internet, you can go to jail. Fuck you. Suck all my dicks. Eat my ass. Eat my pussy. Lick my pussy and my crack. My neck, my back. Okay? Fuck you. No. That's stupid. I should be able to talk as much shit online as I want. It's the fucking internet. Oh, hate speech. I should be able to hate you in speech. I think that's the only way I should be able to hate someone. You shouldn't do acts of violence. You shouldn't do something physical. You shouldn't stop them from getting work. You shouldn't do... But speech is fair. I hate you. You're stupid. Yeah, I hate you too. Okay. Thanks. You too. Retarded. It's stupid. Why are we making a big deal about this? Well, because there's a bunch of losers and pussies everywhere. And I don't like it. So, Canada's dumb. Canada sucks. Country's over. Country's cooked. Country's chopped, as the kids would say. This place is fucked. You got Indians driving the wrong way on the roads. It's just a disaster here. It's a disaster here. America's a bit of a disaster too, though. The violence and shit. Oh my God. But at least you can own a gun. Canada, they literally tell you, someone breaks in your house, bend over and spread your cheeks. The police chief said that. The police chief said that on TV. He goes, if there is a home invader, do not attempt to engage them in force. The best thing you can do is to bend over and spread your cheeks. What the fuck? And then the next day, the thing with the sheriff of Florida is like, shoot him again. Like, it's like, dude, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Some 5 Somalis break into my house. I got to bend over and spread my cheeks. Not happening. Not happening. And the problem with our society is the prison system too. Why is everyone fucking each other? I talk to people in Saudi that have done time in a Saudi prison, dude. That's hardcore. They're not spreading cheeks. They're not clapping cheeks in the jail in Saudi. They're like, no, I'm straight, dude. I'll just jerk off. Like, but here it's like you go to jail and everyone's like, you can get fucked in the butt. So everyone talks about it. It's like a gay part. It's like pride. It's like pride parade in there. Guys dressing up like girls. Like, what is going on? Especially in America. What the fuck is going on? Russian jails, they don't do that shit. They don't do that shit. You might get 1 or 2. But everyone beats that guy up for being why are you raping people in here, bro? We're all just doing our time. Play bocce. It's crazy. It's the most insane thing ever. So, you don't want to go to jail here. But what are you going to do? I don't want to spread my cheeks. You either spread your cheeks for a Somalian in the streets, or you spread your cheeks for the Somalian in the jail. I don't want to do that. I have a tight fucking trumpet that back there, but like it's fucking. I'm not loosening the goosey for no one, bud. Crazy. So those are my big issues. You know what? We're gonna take another break for one of our sponsors. I got to do another sponsorship. What minute am I at? Because I got to do for the sponsors. Oh, yeah, 40 minutes. Perfect. Okay, we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor. Tired of expensive grocery prices? Tired of non-local, non-locally sourced, non-GMO or GMO meat? Tired of bad meats? Well, we've got the solution for you. We are sponsored by a fantastic company where they deliver meat to your door. It's called Hung Phat Meats. Hung Phat Meats has been delivering quality meats for the last 7 years. They have a wonderful e-commerce website, very simple to use. And if you go and you order a year's worth of thick meats now and use the code Ramy, you get an additional 3 months of meats brought to your house. So please, go to hungfatmeats.com and type in the code Ramy and get a lot of meats brought to your house. They're going to bring good meats. It's quality meats. I ate some of the meat today. It's thick, it's juicy, it's sweaty. It's good meats. So remember, that's hungfatmeats.com, coupon code Ramy. You get a discount and you get an additional 3 months of thick, sweaty meats brought to your door. Back to the show. So essentially, this show is kind of Canada focused, although we do talk about other things in the world. And it's me focused, essentially, whatever I find interesting, whatever I find fun. And, there's a lot of things going on. One thing I did want to talk about in the news, and it's not really getting a lot of coverage, was there was a story about how there was this fat guy who died on a bus. This happened, I think, 2 weeks ago in London, Ontario. Fat guy died on a bus. And, the story is pretty small. It doesn't really matter. No one cares. I don't really care, except for in the article, it said marginalized communities. And they included fat people in a marginalized community. And I don't know if that's the right word to use, marginalized. Because the guy, I forget what I was saying about the fat guy, but who cares? Anyways. So, yeah. Oh, sorry. Anyways, yeah. So forget the fat guy. Who cares about the fat guy? Who cares about that fat idiot? I don't know. Joke basically was going to be like, you're not marginalized if you're fat. You're just fat. So, that's it. Don't really care about that. I don't really care about fat people and their problems. I was fat. Up until very recently, I was very fat. Okay? Some days I am still. It's like alcoholism. It's a one day at a time recovering type of thing. You can fall off the wagon. But being fat doesn't change anything other than you need to change your diet and stop being fat. It's not good for you, and I don't want to look at it. So, done. Next question. So, anyways. We're going to wrap this up shortly. I just want to thank all of our sponsors for helping with the show. We're going to take a look at some of the questions that were sent in. It's only a couple questions, not too many, but we'll take a look at those questions. And then we'll go from there. So let me just get the questions pulled up. Okay. So the first question comes from Hitler's Gooch 87. Hitler's Gooch 87 asks, "You're fat, I hate you, and don't do a podcast anymore." Well, thank you, Hitler's Gooch 87. That was nice of you. No, I'm going to continue to do the podcast. So there's only 3 more. The next one is from user Highway to Hello. And Highway to Hello asks... Oh, wait. Oops. There we go. Now I can read it. Highway to Hello asks... Based upon your last podcast, you said you were going to be doing prank calls. Will you still be doing that, or are you gay? Okay. Yeah, we might do some prank calls. Okay, 2 more. The next one is from Elliot the Mussolini. Elliot the Mussolini asks... I don't want to say that. I don't want to say what he wrote. Okay, no, I'll just edit it. Hi, Ramster Lord. I've been watching you since your first episode. I just have a question. A lot of blanks moved into my neighborhood, and I don't like them. What do I do with all these blanks in my community? Well, you should introduce yourself to them. Probably try to make friends with them. If that doesn't work, just set some boundaries as neighbors, or move. Okay. And the last question comes from Donkey Dick 1987. Donkey Dick 1987 asks, "How that smell?" Okay, so that was our questions. If you'd like to leave a question, you drop it on the video, and we'll take some of the best questions. Or you can send it to me on Instagram at Ramy H Comedy. Or I'm going to be making a Twitter page for this and everything. Just leave a question on the video, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And these will get better, or they'll get worse, or I'll just stop doing it again. But either way, look out for the next one. And I want to thank all the sponsors one more time, from Phat Ghey Insurance, Hung Fat Meats, and to all of our people who ask questions, Hitler's Gooch, Donkey Dick, Elliot the Mussolini, and Highway to Hello, I think was a little other. That's fine. So thank you, everyone. This has been a great episode. It's been great to be here with you. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Find me on all the things. Do all the things. And I'll see you. I'll see you next time.